Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Irene Bedard with us today. She is a Native American actor, director, producer, and advocate. Her film and television credits include Lakota Woman, Grand Avenue, Into the West, Smoke Signals. She was the voice of Disney's Pocahontas, which she also reprised in Wreck-It Ralph 2. And she can currently be seen in Longmire, The Mist, and HBO's Westworld.
And we're excited to have her on. So welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. And, I just think it's amazing that you are doing this together. I mean, I love that. I love love.
Well, what's funny is,
enjoy it.
We've been married almost 20 years now. And
Yeah,
we pretty much
year,
have been a
over
24/7 couple the whole time.
Aww.
So when COVID happened, it was crazy because, so many people through our marriage just said, oh, y'all are so unhealthy, this and that.
Spending so much
time together. And we homeschool our 10-year-old.
Yes.
And so we've been put down for that. And then all of a sudden COVID happens and every society has to live how we have always lived.
Right. Well, I think that we've all had to adjust in so many ways in there. And, one of the amazing things that it kind of makes me feel like we should just do this like once a year or something, just shut everything down, is just what happened to our Earth. So, dolphins and sea turtles and, clear air.
Yes.
Creatures coming back that,
sometimes it's good to just settle down. Again,
have some calmness.
We stay so booked up now with the show and all that, and it's like sometimes we're like, I can't breathe, because our from sun up to sundown is almost, and some, like last week I moved one of our interviews to another date and they were okay with it, so we could just shoot down to Jacksonville for the day and just enjoy
and go to the beach.
That's nice.
Because we live in Savannah, Georgia, but we from time to time, about twice a month, we usually shoot down either Jacksonville or Charleston for just the day. It's only 2 hours away to just get out of the hustle and bustle and just
to relax a little bit and enjoy.
That's kind of our refresher.
It is.
For me, it's going out for hikes and walks with the dogs and writing and gardening. All these things that painting, like all these things that I've loved to do, but didn't really, just was never, I just kept going, been going and going. So it was kind of, I do have to say though, after a while, because I was like, my baseline is basically kind of shy. And so I thought, I'm going to be all right. I got COVID right at the very start of it. And and it was bad. And so I thought, I could do this kind of quarantining thing, but after a while, I just realized, no, I love people. You. I need people.
It's funny talking about being shy and all that. When we first launched this show, it was just an audio program, it weren't video. And I remember Sandy saying to me, look, I'll do this show with you, but I'll never do video.
Yes, that was the plan then.
and then October of 2020, because we started the show January of 2020. So October 2020, Sandy came to me and we were all audio. And she was like, do you think it would help the show if we did video? And then we've been video ever since.
Yes.
Well, it's nice to be able to, look people in the eyes, even if it's through screens now. But I mean, we're just going through so much right now in our world. And I think it's so important to do that, look each other in the eyes and make connections.
Oh, yes.
And
absolutely.
Try to share something that's real, but good. I think that we're all so much loss of community has happened, and I think that we can rebuild that in so many ways. And the real thing is just reach out to your neighbor, make sure they're okay, and
because the sad part is I've seen a quote about a year ago, and it's probably more true today than it was then. But we're the most connected society ever, but we have the less connection ever.
Well, so, I mean, it took from all of the beginning until, the 20th century for us to become 1 billion. And now we're heading toward 8 billion. So we've exponentially grown in that way. But we've also, on top of it, have this interconnectedness, which is amazing. It's opened up so much of the world for everyone. It's just that without having those normal understandings of like, I'm gonna pick some flowers for my neighbor, kind of a thing. I think as a society overall, like we try to pave over nature, we put up fences, we try to compartmentalize ourselves. But I think it's really, really important for us to start like opening up those fence doors.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people, they will connect with people online across the world, but then they forget about that relationship that's right in front of them.
Yeah, their neighbor, their friend,
their spouse,
their children. Yeah.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways too, though, it's opened up, so many people who may or may not have in one way or another felt alone to be able to go out in the world and find someone else who might
met online.
Oh, wow.
We did in the early days
when it was online. It was taboo then because it was in 2002. And the funny thing is we met February 2nd of 2002, talked on the phone for the first time February 4th, set a wedding date February 18th, and met in person March 4th. So we were meeting in person to see who we were going to marry.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And here we are. Well,
20 years later.
February 2nd of 2002 already passed the 20-year mark of that. So we recently passed the 20-year of meeting, the 20-year of talking on phone, 20-year of setting wedding date.
Yeah.
So March 4th will be the 20-year of meeting in person for the first time.
Do something with 222.
Oh yeah, that's our number.
Yes, that's our number. Going back 0202.
I always joke that if we ever happen to see the lottery at 222 million, we've got to play that one.
Oh,
yeah. But again, it's one of them things where everybody told us that it wouldn't work. Because again, back in 2002, everybody thought it was nothing but issues. And I have to tell people now, I believe that it was safer for us to meet then than it would be now.
Oh yeah.
So we met when even the people who didn't, even the criminals and all that, didn't understand the internet
at that point.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you want to become an actress? I like to go deeper than that. When did it click that being an actress could become a career?
Maybe a little later than when I look back, I'm like, well, why didn't you think of that before? I mean, I always did it. It was something I always enjoyed: theater, Anchorage, the Civic Opera, singing. It was, taking dance and learning my traditional dances as well. And so I went to college for physics and philosophy because, it seemed like the I don't know, like and then I started thinking about those jobs too. And
maybe you got to balance it. You got to say, okay, when I go to college, like, in this day and time, you might go to college for something that really doesn't pay at all. So you have to kind of balance. Okay, where's my passion, but also money mixed.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to keep your boat afloat, and all artists are always, whether you're a painter or an actor or whatever, it's like you made that painting. Yep. There it is. Yeah. It will sell, hopefully. But then you have to make another painting or a playwright or whatever it is. And I went to the University of the Arts.
Oh, wow.
And my only wheelhouse of thought was telling stories through theater. And so out of New York, there were a group of us out of the American Indian Community House that started Chuka Lokoli, and we wrote our own pieces. And my, the agent that I had at the time came to see one of our performances, and it didn't compute, right? So I start going out on auditions, and then I get my first film, which is a Disney film called Squanto, A Warrior's Tale. Oh, wow. And it starts there, maybe, because I had gotten maybe 3 in a row, I think, at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what the first one bumped into the schedule of the second one, and I lost that one because of that, because they had first dibs, basically. But the producer Jane Fonda was also producing Lakota Woman, and so I just went right from there to go start filming in South Dakota, and then on my little break that I had, it was my honeymoon, sort of. Well, yeah, it was my honeymoon, and I went and met with Greg and what Eric and Mike at Disney. And while I was out there filming in South Dakota, I got a call saying that I got that role. And that was about the point when I went, oh, okay, well, maybe a person can, do this for a living. So,
yeah, because again, it's so tough to do what you do and be an actress, like you said, in the arts, whether you're an actor, actress, musician, doesn't matter, but it's so tough. And I always like to talk about this side of it, because a lot of people, they see the glory in what you're doing, but they don't see that grind, that sacrifice, that tears, the struggles it takes to get anywhere within entertainment. I always want to talk about that, because I think a lot of people kind of gloss over this, and they're like, you've got a talent, you'll make it. But we both know that's not true. And so what are some of the sacrifices and struggles you've had to go through to build your career that you built?
Well, I mean, I think my realization on my very first film that I wasn't going there to just be an actor. I mean, I do have to say that at the University of the Arts, we had to take speech every year, and part of that was dialects of the world. And so I'm never going to use this Scottish accent, but it was very helpful in learning so many of the native languages that I had to go ahead and learn in the future, and so many different tribes. But I think from the very start, having the understanding that I was a teacher and an ambassador. Now, I already had felt that way because to a certain extent, because I'm a Nupyak and Yupik on my mom's side, and my dad got stationed up in Alaska, and he was French Canadian and Cree Indian, and I was born and raised up in Alaska, and it's just it's otherworldly to some people. So I was already, and my parents and grandparents saying, like, you're wherever you go, you're not just representing yourself, you're not just representing Bedard, you're representing the Inupiaq and the Yupik. So I already had that kind of bearing, I guess. But I didn't really realize to the extent the struggle that would be over the decades. And then, but that's okay, because, as pushing forward artistically, it was always trying to push all of those envelopes. And to bring in as much humanity to something that may or may not, I mean, I think of On Tree of Life playing the the compassionate figure of death, the guardian angel, but the
yeah.
figure of death. And how do you prepare for that? But
Right.
it's also just we have to always continue. I think this life is a gift given to us to learn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we're supposed to make mistakes. I mean,
Mhm.
what one of us has not made mistakes, and what one of
Yeah, I went through 19 years of addiction, so I had a long mistake.
oh, we could talk.
But been sober 14 years. So.
Yes, he is.
Oh wow! Congratulations! Yay! Well, and there,
He helped me through all that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that it's important to just know that, and get waxing philosophical here, but just to know that this journey is, as my friend puts it, that we're a spirit on a human journey.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
my friend Walt Puyer, who has a Stronghold Society, and I really feel like we're there. I don't feel like when I look back at what I've done in my career, like, oh, okay, well, that was a mistake or whatever. I look at everything as a new experience. And
Yeah.
when people ask me,
Yeah.
my favorite one is working
And it's not a mistake if you learn from it.
right,
True,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. And to know also, I mean, like the opportunities as an actor, as a storyteller, of like, being a female Native American in the future, fighting alien bugs and Starship Troopers and
Mhm.
Westworld, and then it to play. I mean, just how out of the box it was for them to think,
Wow.
for The Stand, that we're gonna turn this, kind of big, hulking Brentner guy into a little tiny but mighty Native woman. So, I mean, it's always been what let's just keep pushing those envelopes as much as we can. So it's because the more that we do that, the more that we kind of go out of our comfort zones, the more we learn, and the more experience, and the more amusing the world is. And really, I mean, it's full of joy and it's full of pain. And you may
And
as
you
well like
can't
keep
have
gearing yourself
one
toward the
without the
joy, right?
Yeah.
you wouldn't know the true joy if you didn't also experience the pain.
Yeah.
Because I believe
Yeah.
if you had a life where everything was joyful, you would eventually become dull, and you wouldn't really understand that you have joy because you never experienced pain. But by experiencing pain, experiencing struggles, now you get to see, okay, this is what joy really is. Mm-hmm.
It really, I mean, and that's about the depth of life, and I remember even being like hitting my 30 my
Mm-hmm.
30th birthday, and being asked at that time, like, how does it feel? And I just was, what I've all the most amazingly beautiful people that I could remember looking into their eyes were people like my grandparents, and my
Oh, yeah.
grandfather, and hearing him smile and hearing him laugh, and so, like, to me, it's just okay. Well, it in the realm of the infinite, our tiny little, maybe 100 years,
Yes.
it's
We
Right.
hope, because I'm 50
Yeah.
now, so I'm like, I hope I get 100.
Yeah.
well, I had my my party, I called it my halfway to 100 party. So I'm
Oh,
halfway, but this year it's the 5-5 and the 2
Oh
2s.
wow.
Yeah.
oh, yes. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because last year was my 50th, and August 28th of last year, and we actually went to Nashville and spent a few days there in Nashville. So
Mhm.
and it's funny because we were up on the bridge, the walking bridge that got in Nashville, and we had these balloon things, the big 50, and I'm trying to, we pull them out, and you got to blow them up, but we had no tube to blow it up with.
Right.
And I'm
They
sitting there
didn't
like,
include anything
I
with it.
want
Yeah.
I planned everything out for this Nashville trip. I planned my whole 50th year. Come on now. How can I get these things blown up and I'm like, so I asked her, I had to MacGyver this thing. I asked her, I was like, do you have a pen? And she kind of looked at me crazy. She goes, of course, yeah, I got a pen. So she gave me a pen. I took the pen apart, took the pieces out, put it back together, pushed it in the part where with the tube goes. And it took me like 10 minutes because there's so little air goes through the pen. I got them blown up though.
That was crazy.
I didn't know what else to do. We were in the spot. It was perfect. Everything was perfect except we couldn't get the balloons blown.
Oh,
but I got, again, I found a way around it and it happened. But life is, like you said, nobody knows when life is going to end. And COVID has really got a lot of people thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that, and the state of, the state of our world, I just keep trying to veer us all in whatever conversation I'm having, whether it's with all of us here or, just, at the grocery store, of just, reinforcing over and over again, like, hi, like, hi, we're in this together. Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have to keep lifting each other up. I don't think I could express that more.
And everybody needs to express that more and more, because on my personal profile of Facebook, I watch a lot of conversations happen. I mean, because when you go through, if somebody went through all my friends on Facebook, they would see that I have as far right people, far left people, in the middle people, independent people, Christian people, non-Christian people, Jewish, you name it, it's in. And I did that on purpose so I could see all sides. And it's interesting as I watch conversations go through the feeds. And I'm like, these people have no idea that they think exactly same, but because they feel like they're different, they won't talk.
I think that it's in, and really that, regardless of how we've moved through time since Pocahontas has come out, more than 25 years ago now. Oh my Lord. But the basic whole reason why I think that her story is remaining so strong in our culture is because of this sense of how can we see the other as not the other, that we're all so connected, we're all that what happens to my people up in Alaska is affecting the weather here. So I mean, we're all, so a lot of people don't know that after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, every blade of grass, every flower, every human being, every living thing on the planet now has cesium-138. I can't remember. It's an isotope, a radioactive substance, basically. And we all have that now. If you were a bottle of wine, this is how I know this, by the way. They were trying to prove that this particular bottle of wine was not from the 1700s, and it had isotope 138 in it, so it was a forgery.
Oh, wow.
But it really struck me at that time, because I at that time lived across the street from a Japanese woman who I got to see her 100th birthday. She would make a long walk across the street, and I didn't know what to do. I'd stand there. I'm like, well, I don't want to, disrespect her, but she was interned as a young woman, as a young Japanese woman, Japanese American, on the Navajo reservation, because they were so this connectedness that seems random at times.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't. I feel like everything that's put in our path is put there for something that we couldn't possibly understand, because as I said, this life is a gift given to us to learn. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all connected for a reason, and we just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the sacrifice side. Let's go flip the script and go the other way. What are a few wow moments for you in your career of entertainment?
Oh my goodness, there have been so many. Yeah, I mean, I think back to when you say that. I mean, those wow moments. I mean, I think back to just how much my cheeks hurt, my belly hurt from laughing so much with Evan Adams on Smoke Signals. You know, I mean, every time we see each other, we can't even. The first thing we do is crack up. It's all teeth, you know. You know, I mean, it's like little moments as that. But then, you know, then I think of those other ones where, you know, I'm watching the dune buggy futuristic vehicles driving through the desert in, you know, Southern California with the fires going on in the background.
Wow.
You know, and not really knowing what I'm filming because everything is so parsed out. It probably still is, as far as storylines that you know, I'm like, people would ask me like, tell me something. And I'm like, I can't even tell you. I was there and I can't tell you.
Oh, wow.
I think we filmed 3 endings.
Wow.
But, yeah. So I feel like I mean, or even for instance, being at a Comic-Con recently, and William Shatner had just come, you know, down from space, and it was his first public appearance there. So, you know, I just happened to run into him in the green room, and I said, "Congratulations on your recent excursion." And he had his mask on, and he was getting maybe tea or coffee or something, and he said, "Oh, how did you recognize me with my mask on?" Probably the most famous man on the planet that week.
Yes.
But you know, it's those moments when the cavalry is coming over the hill, and you understand the sheer utter depth of what is being reenacted here. That was the West, which is a Spielberg production. Or, you know, I mean, or meeting all of the different people, including Mary Crow Dog, who in Lakota Woman, all the people who were there at the Siege at Wounded Knee in 1973, and to be able to be there and kind of portray this moment in history that was important in so many ways for so many of the indigenous people of North America. So you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I mean, I could just keep going. Incredible and fun and weird.
Yeah, we've had some crazy experiences in our marriage. I tell you,
we have. Yes,
so many long, and it's like, you know, we look back and we love to laugh, and we'll look back at an event and we're like, remember this or remember that. And it's just crazy, you know, if you just go out and live your life, because I know that sometimes people, they want to stay cooped up, like you were saying earlier, in their own little bubble. And we're in a bubble per se, but we still get out and about, and we live our life and experience life. And, you know, everybody thought I was crazy for launching this show, you know, January 2020, because we've never had radio experience, TV experience.
It was all grassroots.
It was all grassroots, and they said it could never work. But you know what? I believe that even if it didn't work on a big level, we can make something out of it. And here we are, over 500 interviews later.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
And we've met so many great people from all walks of life.
We really have.
Within the entertainment industry on the show.
Oh, to meet the name.
And it's just been such an humbling experience to hear people's stories and what they've went through, because like you said earlier, we're all in this together. And this show for me has really shown that we really are all in this together.
Yeah. Oh,
good. So a lot of people would see you, but they don't see the team behind artists and actors and all that. But in our opinion, teams never get the love they deserve.
They don't.
On our show, they get love. So take a few moments and tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it goes back to my parents. My mother was born in the village of Koyuk, Alaska, and a twin, and was one of the children that got plucked and taken to the boarding schools, and then got to see a telephone and a radio and Elvis and a person going to the moon and computers. In her lifetime, she lived 10,000 years, and the resilience of that that takes. My grandfather, who served in World War II, he was one of, a lot of people don't know that the Japanese invaded America and Alaska in the Aleutian Chains.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we sent 19,000, maybe it was more than 19,000 troops. I can't remember, but quite a lot of troops. And they also plucked a lot of Alaska Native people and took them down to the Aleutian Chains to battle. But I mean, he just made people laugh his whole life. I mean, he all the way up until the very end, he was making people laugh. And my father was we probably have more of the similar personalities. Like just loved to engage with people. He testified before Congress. We had meetings, about the Alaska Federation of Natives in our basement, and my marriage, my son, that moment when you just are holding this amazing life that just came from the ether of existence, and you just can see that, and you cherish life so much. And I just, there's, I would be really, really bad if I had to go and they'd be like beeping me off, like, as far as thanking people goes.
Yes.
We get it. And speaking of teams and family. We have a third co-host, our 10-year-old. So Sandy's going to go get him. Ask a couple questions. And we've got a 3-year-old that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show. In fact, she just turned 3 yesterday. So
happy birthday.
She's asleep right now, but it was really cool because we were just what you were saying. We were thinking back about that day 3 years ago from yesterday. And we were like, man, we've come a long way with her. and of course, little Chris, he's 10. It's like, where has that time gone?
Well, and my son just became a grown-up. So like, how did that happen? No, don't go anywhere.
And see, we just started late because I'm 50 and we've got a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Well, I became a mother the same age as my mother became a grandmother at the age of 36. Yeah, so
that's pretty cool. But it's I know that Sandy and I spent 10 years together before little Chris come along, so we got to experience life without kids. And then now that we got 2, we're like, I can't even remember what life was like back before. Not that I want to, but I can't remember those times. It's like, man, all we remember now is we got 2 kids.
Hello.
Hi, Irene. So what's your favorite food?
Say it again.
What's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food? Oh my goodness. Well, if and I'm from Alaska. And we're a salmon eating people. Salmon and berry picking people. So salmon and berries are probably my favorite. If there's salmon on the menu at a restaurant, you can bet that I'm going to be ordering salmon.
What's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Pizza. You know, there was a study, I guess, or a poll maybe. I of course, you know, here we are, love listening and looking and watching podcasts, but there was one that talked about how we oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I'm losing my what we were just you were saying that, well, what did you just say about the food?
His is pizza, his favorite.
Oh, pizza. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so these scientists basically said that, see, this is what happens when you're 55. Said that they said the question was, if you're going to be on a deserted island and there could only be one food, what would you, as scientists, doctors, whatever, nutritionists, have that one food be? And I thought, well, of course, it's going to be pizza with everything on it. Turned out to be dog food. No, pizza with everything on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show and movie?
My favorite TV show and movie. Growing up, I loved, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have very many channels, for one, and there was every Sunday, or maybe it was once a month, maybe Disney would have a special Sunday night, and we would get to watch movies as a family. So that was always my favorite thing to do. So my first, of course, are like, you know, Mary Poppins, and I mean, I always loved the Hepburn, so Katharine Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn, and you know, so you know, I grew up loving this kind of view that you could go into somebody else's world. So I always loved movies. So that's kind of a hard question, because yeah, and then I could go on later in life, and then now my son is going into film school, and so it's like revisiting all, like, the 1931 Frankenstein, and you know, all the Alfred Hitchcock movies, and or the Academy Award winners. Sophie's Choice was my favorite. That's what I said in my audition for the University of the Arts, because they asked me that. But yeah, it's always changing, and especially now that we can like binge watch things. Generally, whatever I'm watching, I'm like totally absorbed in the story, and I can't wait to see how it, you know, where we go with it. So,
what's yours?
My favorite TV show is SpongeBob, and my favorite movie is The Minions.
Ooh,
Yep, SpongeBob and the Minions. He loves.
Yeah, I love the Minions too.
Our little Caitlin, our 3-year-old, if we're in the mall or something somewhere walking and there's a Minion in the store, we have to go in there. They have built a really strong brand. I mean, kids love the Minions. We all love the Minions, but kids really love the Minions.
I have my little own Minion. Well, actually, maybe they're all Minions in their own way. So I'm just a friend of fur and feathers, but I have this little Jack Russell Terrier who is always, you know, working out some kind of plan in his head. And I think of him as my little minion.
Hi, thanks.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I have to go, and he's going to get his shots today. So
wow.
Yeah.
That is cool. Definitely that time, huh? So if you could co-star with any actor or actress, who would it be, and what role would you want to play?
Do they have to are living?
It don't, it could be dead or alive.
Either, or one of each. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I always, since Smoke Signals, wanted to do a romantic comedy with Gary Farmer.
Oh, wow.
Who's on the show Reservation Dogs right now. We just have this, fun kind of teddy bear love, It's just like, oh, I love you so much, that I would love to just for both of us to just get a chance to do more comedy. That's why I'm so glad to see that Reservation Dogs is doing so well. And wow. But I always, like I said, when I think of a lot of the way that I've had to try to figure out how to be on a red carpet or anything like that, I always thought of Audrey Hepburn and Katharine Hepburn, So I even when I did Our Town at Perseverance Theater, we did an Alaskan version of it, and I played the stage manager, and I kind of invoked both of them, a little bit of Charlie Chaplin.
Awesome. What are some sources of inspiration for you?
So for me, I find when I go out in nature that it inspires me in art. It inspires me in writing. It gives me that moment to kind of reflect.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm always that's why I especially love walking with the dogs, but just going out. When I first moved to Ohio, I didn't know what the creatures are. Like the first time the first time I saw a groundhog, it was walking across the sidewalk. And I was like, where did that beaver come from?
Wow.
Because I don't know. I just thought groundhogs were a lot smaller.
Yeah.
They're like as big as a beaver without the tail. Like, what happened to that beaver's tail?
Oh, that's funny.
But I have this app now called Picture This, and I had already been, doing a lot of that out in nature around here, but the Picture This has been so great, Anyway, it's basically you take a picture of something and you're like, well, it could be this or it could be that, and it will like let you know all of its details, including that's the poisonous one, or that's
stay away.
Yes. Oh wow. So what would you like for your legacy to be in the entertainment industry? What do you want to be known and remembered for?
Oh gosh. Well, my name Irene means peace. Goddess of peace.
Love that.
And it seems like I hosted the Dayton Literary Peace Prize and special consul for the Cities of Peace, and the peace of Pocahontas, I guess, too. There's always been that aspect of working toward building bridges, and always also understanding the concept of deep time, right? That I may or may not get to see the bridge formed out of a ficus tree, generations later on. But so I just, it's like, the whole building bridges rather than burning bridges, and how can we is what you're about to do or say going to make this a better place to be or a worse place to be? I'm with my son. I was like, it's a good one.
So as you look further down the road and you grow in your success, what's one thing you hope you never forget?
The smell of the forest in Alaska with the sea next to it. Because I think that's the place of growing up there, the place that really you understand that you're just a little tiny human being on the face of the planet. You really get it. And, then I got to go to New York City, and you really get it. You're a human being on the face of the planet. And
if you stand by an ocean, like we live by an ocean, you stand by an ocean, you're like, how small we are to that body of water.
Mm-hmm. And yet we are so amazingly, intrinsically unique, and you're only going to see through these eyes at this time, this time in life. And so, I think that we really can build this space in a way where we get that, and we also don't get lost in the fact that we're just also in a corner with your computer or your phone, and you're all alone. We're not, you have to have that balance.
Exactly. So what advice would you give somebody who wants to do what you do?
You have to love it. If you don't love it, it's too hard. And the world has its certain aspects of uncertainty all the time. But this is always that, like, as I mentioned, like, okay, did that, what's next? But you have to have a little bit of that kind of personality of being a part of the a rolling carnival, basically.
You have to look at life like roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So as we close out here, tell everybody how they can find you.
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And it's just Irene Bedard, IreneBedard. I'm working on other. I was on Twitter. I need to get myself back on Twitter. And Cameo, that's a new one to me too. So it's, Cameo has been really fun too, because I get to just talk one-on-one to people, and I love that. And also what I'd like to do in the future is to be able to do little campaigns to raise funds for various nonprofits.
I love that. Nonprofits could always use the help.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back down the road.
Yeah, I'd love that too. Yay. Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thanks so much for your time.